Yo guys, what's up? Devon Alexander, Amir King Khan, it's not far off. And let me try and concentrate on this video, right? Hold on. So, let me get my watch. So I don't know what I'm doing with timing. I always forget my watch, right? Okay, so Devon Alexander versus Amir Khan. And we're talking about Devon Alexander's keys to victories here. And I haven't even thought about this, but it's difficult because see, there's two routes with Amir Khan when you're trying to fight him. And I'm talking as a boxing analyst, not a fan. But for Devon Alexander to beat Amir, see, the keys to victory are difficult because Devon Alexander can be himself and he could try and edge a win being himself. And that's the most logical thing to do, just be yourself. If Devon is himself, which is a tremendous boxer with good punching power, he stands a chance to win the fight. It's boxing, right? But the thing is, when you try and put keys to victory and you say, Devon do this, Devon do this, Devon do this, it's not easy because I'm gonna be honest here, and I like Devon Alexander, but I feel Amir does everything better than Devon Alexander. Like, who's faster? Do you know what I mean? Can you say convincingly that Devon Alexander is faster than Amir? Can you say convincingly that Devon Alexander would be able to drop Collazo the amount of times that Amir did? Can you say convincingly that Devon Alexander is the superior boxer than Amir? Which brings me on to the point. That is the only thing I feel that Devon has potentially superior to Amir. Potentially. This is not a pre-fight analysis. I've done my pre-fight, but when I do my prediction, I'm going to talk about what I think is going to happen, and I'm going to break the fight down in a little bit of a different manner. But at this moment in time, I want to talk about keys to victory, and I feel that Devon Alexander, for him to win this fight, he shouldn't go for the knockout, okay? Because Amir at 147, he's a big 147 lad. He's I don't want to talk about weights and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? I know what weight Amir is at currently. But I'm just going to say this, that Amir is not a small 147 fighter. He's a big 147 pound fighter. And I think he's going to grow into the weight a little bit more. And I think this fight is going to be kind of a coming of age for Amir. And I think that Devon Alexander, he's coming from 140. Okay, he's not a 154 fighter dropped down to 147. He's not Keith Thurman at 147. He is Devon Alexander. Okay, he's a good boxer. He knows how to throw a lot of punches. He's very fit. He's very active. And I think that Devon Alexander needs to stick to what he is. Do you know what I mean? Instead of, like, when you go into a fight, sometimes it's good to get a game plan and whatnot. But I think in this situation, Devon shouldn't be trying to look at holes in Amir Khan's game, because Amir could come in 10 times better than what he did against Collazo under Virgil Hunter. You know, people don't actually know what to expect with Amir. I think that, let's leave that to another video, alright? But the thing is that with Devon Alexander, he should stick to what he does best and try what he knows, right? Which is good boxing. He's not a huge puncher. Since when does Devon Alexander go for a knockout? Why should you try and go for a knockout against Amir just because there's a stigma that Amir's got a glass chin? Don't believe the hype, because if Devon Alexander, if you watch this video, right, if you believe the hype against Amir, truthfully, you're gonna get beat badly if you try to believe the hype of Amir's chin. I think that that's something that a lot of people have tried, and the success rate is actually quite low. If you think of how many fighters must have tried to knock Amir out, like, think about this, right? Let's go back. Ever since Willie Limond, pretty much every fighter, the game plan has been, let's knock Amir Khan out. So far, the only people who have succeeded to knock Amir Khan down and keep him down is Blaise Prescott and Danny Garcia, and even they couldn't keep him on the canvas. So it's like, you look at Lamont Peterson, we look at Louis Collazo, we look at Carlos Molina, we look at Julio Diaz, we look at Marco Tony Barrera, we look at pretty much all the fighters. Man, hell, I don't know, man. There's so many fighters, right, tried to knock Amir out, and for me, it just wasn't happening. It didn't happen for a lot of fighters, and I think that Devon Alexander should try to outbox Amir. Okay, I think that Devon Alexander's key to victories are this: the main umbrella for me is try to outbox Amir. Okay, I know it's a difficult ask because Amir is this silver medalist with this very good amateur pedigree. But if he's going to stand any chance, it's in the boxing department, you know? Um, and I think Devon needs to stop. Don't take it personally that, oh, Devon Alexander hasn't got no power, and let that play into your mind when you're going into the fight. Because I don't think that's the right thing to do. I really don't. I think that Devon Alexander needs to block all that out of his mind, go in and try and be the superior boxer. He needs to use pivots. He needs to pivot a lot. He needs to use his foot speed. I think that Devon Alexander shouldn't be throwing wild punches because it's going to leave him open to counter punches. I think that when Amir under Virgil Hunter right now is learning a lot about counter punching, but he also knows how to throw a lead punch, which makes it difficult for Devon. But I think where Devon is superior is in the department that Devon has more experience with his own style, whereas Amir is still learning new things. So I think for Devon Alexander to win this fight, he needs to turn Amir a lot, take him up on the ropes, pivot him, use his jab, use his footwork. I think Devon's got very good footwork. And I think mix it up a little bit. I think he does need to mix. And I think that what he needs to do is get that fine balance of boxing and trying to make it into a bit of a slugfest. Because if he can bring Amir into a slugfest, okay, he's going to stand a chance for the left hook, okay? And I think that Devon Alexander has a decent hook. Can he knock Amir out? I don't think so. Can he hurt Amir? It's boxing. Anybody can hurt anyone. So in my opinion, I think Devon should stick to his boxing and let what comes come. Because we know Devon has a tremendous chin. This is the department that Devon Alexander excels to the pretty much anyone in the 147 division. I don't think anyone has a better chin than Devon in the 147 division. Devon Alexander apparently hasn't been down in sparring. He's never been down in the amateurs. He's never been down in the pros. So I think that Devon Alexander going in and rushing to try and knock Amir out and all this, I think all that's going to do is going to surprise him, and Amir's going to go crack, because Amir can punch out 147 big, right? And under Tony Brady, he's got power. We saw that in the Plaza fight. So if he tries to do this, where he tries to just go and knock Amir out, the knockout will never come. If he goes in to try and technically box Amir, use the pivots, use his southpaw stance, use his experience, yeah, and be who Devon is, right, which is a good boxer with a tremendous chin, I think he can cause Amir a few problems and maybe stack up a few rounds. But you see, the problem that Devon's going to run into is that Amir is a very busy fighter. Amir is also an accurate puncher. But where Devon might excel and Amir's weaknesses right now, I think is where Devon might try to expose Amir's two styles, where we saw in the Julio Diaz fight, his punch output was quite, I don't know if it was low, but it wasn't as confident as it was in the Louis Collazo fight. In the Louis Collazo fight, we saw him step it up. And I hope that Amir doesn't go back to decreasing his punch output. Because although the percentage might be higher, what wins you fights, and I think what's won Amir fights, is a higher punch output, you know, and the work rate. Because if you've got fitness, you should use it. Because if you don't use your fitness, what's the point of having the fitness, you know? So I think that Devon Alexander shouldn't, because I saw in the Hisoto Cross fight, when Devon Alexander was fighting, he was throwing a lot of missed punches, and he was kind of going for broke, trying to go for a knockout, prove that he's got knockout power, and I feel like he thinks that this is his chance to show that, look, I can bang and I've got power. But there's too much on the line at the moment, and I think Devon needs to watch this video, right, because I don't know who's going to explain it in the manner that I'm explaining it to him, but if he's got any chance, he needs to try and outbox him here, but mix it up with a few punches. And like I said, the pivoting and when Amir's going for him, turn him and throw your combinations and get into it, you know, left, right, bang, right, in them exchanges. That's the only chance Devon has got, I feel. I think that these are the keys to victory for Devon Alexander in the best way that I could portray them. I don't think I can think of any other advantages Devon holds. It's if I'm being honest, it's difficult to highlight the keys to victory, as I said in the beginning, because it falls down to, when you're looking at keys to victory, can you do this better? Can you do this better? Can you do this better? And when you're looking at each department, the only departments where Devon really excels, and I've said it before, chin, and that's it really. And arguably the boxing, arguably that's arguable. You know, even there, if you ask me, in my opinion, I don't think Devon excels in the boxing, but I think at the chin department, Devon Alexander has one of the best chins in 147. So I think that don't go for broke, but use your boxing, which is not far off of me as boxing. You know, it's not going to be far off. And don't try and go for the one punch knockout. That'll be the most stupid game plan you could do, and he'll just throw away the fight. Amir will destroy him. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments in the section below. Make sure you subscribe. They're the keys to victory for me, for Devon Alexander. That's what he needs to do. Okay? So, just gonna, once more, pivot, use your boxing, and don't be shy to get into exchanges. Throw the left, right, pam! And try and catch Amir when Amir's throwing combinations. I think that's the only chance he's got. But do you know what the thing is? That's the old Amir, Freddie Roach. I can't find holes which Devon Alexander can expose in Amir under Virgil Hunter. That's the honest truth of it. I'm going to be blatantly honest. It's B-Real TV, and I've got to be real. I like Devon Alexander, but difficult to find keys to victory for him in this fight, if I'm being honest with you. In a bit, guys.